highs, and that's how it's going. The mid-cap index is now almost 2% higher, and the Nifty itself 73, 74 points up.
Look at Kotak Mahindra Bank. I think the market wants to take out shorts and send them to cleaners. I think the market's verdict was very clear in the morning itself, Surabhi. The first hour, the market's verdict was clear that you really want to be on the long side of trade today, and that if you're chasing on the short side, perhaps things are not going to work out, and that's how things are moving. And the Nifty is now making fresh intraday high, 10,558 now, and this is happening with the news that the gap in MP is going. An hour back you could have said that perhaps the market is hoping that the BJP somehow manages to cross the halfway mark in MP. That it doesn't look like is going to happen now. In fact, the Congress is now comfortably in the lead once again. So this has happened on a day the markets got a verdict of 3-0 in favor of the Congress. Urjit Patel resigning, and the global volatility.
It's still intact, yeah.
Still intact, So all the bad news has been thrown at the market, and the market's chosen to actually move on. In the morning, I was making this point that remember what happened on Brexit Day, remember what happened on Brexit Day, remember what happened on Donald Trump. Why in stock market sometimes, history is an important lesson is because people's greed and fear are same. The same kind of market participants are there. In the morning, everyone was fearful. Everyone would feel that, at some point the market would reverse, but who's going to be the first one to actually buy? And I think that's a bit of a classical lesson today the market has given. In fact, look at the Bank Nifty now. 80 points in the green, 26,180 is what you have. Any remaining shorts, I think, from yesterday or from today, absolutely thrown out.
Look at the kind of day that we've actually had. Let's bring in Gautam Sinha Roy, fund manager at Motilal Oswal AMC. He's with us on the show now. Gautam, it's been quite a turn of events, a lot that the market had to digest. Do you think that this day, today's trading action should be taken as a symbol of strength, or would you just treat it as a one-day phenomenon? And do you think this market still has to deal with certain more serious issues?
Well, honestly, like Anuj was saying, I am also very confounded by what has happened today. Given the multitude of unexpected bad news which has come and the way the market has digested and moved on, is quite confounding. So I think, such days I would typically not try to read too much into it. Tomorrow is another day. Clearly the developments which have happened are not positive. No one is saying that, and there's no way you can put a positive spin to either the electoral development or the RBI governor leaving in a hurry. So let's see what is in store for markets going into the next few days, next few months. One thing is for sure that electoral results, the prospects of negative surprises in electoral results will definitely continue to play on market for a while, and we have 6 months leading up to the elections. So clearly the results have increased the probability of a negative result development in the national elections too. So let's see how it pans out over the next 4. Volatility is par for course. Volatility will definitely be high. That much is assured. Nothing else for the next 6 months is, anything else is difficult to call right now.
Okay. This move on Kotak is really big actually, especially in last hour, because if you see the kind of move, and these kind of moves do not happen with some retail traders making few buys here or there. This is just someone picking serious quantity, and same happened with Yes Bank also, of course, today. So for all the doomsday predictors on the large banks, today actually is a bit of an indicator that perhaps the market wants to buy bad news, and that seems to be happening in a lot of these names. Gautam, the other pocket which is making a bit of a comeback is cement. The market believes that perhaps from here on there's going to be a lot of emphasis on infrastructure. Do you think that's a decent argument? And stocks have corrected already, of course.
Cement is a space difficult to call, Anuj, because there is overcapacity problem, especially in the south. Few select stocks, especially the ones towards the north, maybe yes, where valuations are also comfortable. It has to be bottom up. I don't think anything structurally is going to change materially for cement going forward that one should get very positive about it. Of course, demand growth has not been impressive in cement for a very long period of time, and then hence they have had difficulties passing on costs. So if you look at ROEs of the sector, they have really compressed. So structurally, is there a structural change in the cement cycle? Difficult to call. It has to be bottom up. There have been specific stocks where people have made a lot of money in the last 6-7 years when cement as a sector has done nothing. But yeah, you will have to be stock specific and very, very bottom up.
What about banks? The thing is that banks are no longer a homogeneous universe either, right, Gautam? Because, I mean, each one has its own issues. There's Kotak, there's Yes. I mean, there's a lot going on out here. What are you still picking and choosing within financials, and what are you staying away from?
So actually, if you look at the large banks today, the private banks, at least all of them are now retail banks. Because if you look at the asset side, all of them have 50% or higher retail loans or somewhere around that. So from that perspective, actually the homogeneity on the asset side is higher. Of course, the NPA levels differ widely from bank to bank. And some of the legacy NPA problems are having a bearing on valuations of some of these banks. And that, obviously, the NPA cycle is also reversing. There is no denying that. So from that perspective, some of the banks which have suffered a lot from the last round of NPA problems can recover, should recover. So, one should, I'm largely very constructive on large banks. Growth should be good, especially the ones which have very good CASA. So, that should mean that on the liability side also they will have advantage. They will take market share from some of these NBFCs which are going through a phase of stress. So from that perspective, banks will continue to do well, and valuations are also quite comfortable. Large banks with good CASA is what you should look for.
Okay, that's interesting. Are you buying Sun Pharma now, Gautam, after the kind of decimation that we have seen?
No comments on individual stocks, but yeah, wherever very large regulatory concerns are coming to the fore, one has to be careful, but one has to do one's own research, also delve deep and make sure that one is confident that the regulatory issues are in the price, or they are not as serious as they are touted to be, and then you'll have to, that has to be a very bottom-up approach, no specific stock references.